All right. So if you are here for Building Blue, Witchcraft, Wizardry, and MailChimp awesomeness, you are in the right space. And yes, on Tuesday, for one of our trainings, Learning to Make the Most of Your Story Online, most of us had just attended this training fresh off of the news of the Derek Chauvin verdict and sentencing, well, the verdict. And so we were pretty upset, and we had inserted a slide called Moment of Silence. And this morning when Allie and I were talking about tonight's training, we were like, well, we should probably take that out. And then less than a couple of minutes later, I got an email from Dr. Richardson referencing the situation that happened over in Elizabeth City. And so we still have so much work to do for our for equality, for justice, for equity. And so at this time, I would like for you to join me in a moment of silence for Andrew Brown. Andrew Brown, I believe a deputy was serving a warrant, and I'm not exactly sure what happened, except for there's really no need ever to chase someone down the street and fire 14 rounds at their vehicle. So he died. And if you can join me, please, in a moment of silence. Thank you. Earlier this morning, the playlist that was playing for the group had a line from Bob Dylan, and it said something like, come on, prophets, like poets and prophets, go ahead and grab your pens and pencils and start prophesying. And so, I think it's pretty interesting that here we are learning how to write emails and create emails, just another tool in the email conversation. And so it is indeed, we have to continue to be prophetic and speak truth to power. So just a few quick tech notes for those who are coming and joining for the first time. From time to time, we're going to ask you to unmute yourself and also to raise your hands or to give us some reactions, clap, or tell us we're going too fast or too slow. And you find those underneath the reactions tab, which might be underneath more, and it will expand another menu where you can click to raise your hand. If you're joining us from the phone, you would raise your hand or lower your hand by toggling *9, and you can mute and unmute on the phone by pressing *6. I'm a teacher, so I'm going to ask you to be respectful, to be present, and to ask questions, to use the chat. And if at all possible, please use the video. I mean, we're all in various stages of Zoom appropriateness. I have on my pajamas pants, at least at the bottom. So, but use your video when you can, and, share with us who you are and how you're feeling. So the other implicit part of all of these training series that we're doing is that we want you to realize that you're a big family, from Murphy to Manteo, from New Hanover, all the way up to Watauga and Ash and Avery, way up there. So we are going to go ahead and open up some breakout rooms. There'll be 2 or 3 of you in every single breakout room. And we'd like for you to answer 3 questions. Where are you from? How did you hear about this training? And then, what is the most powerful email you've ever received? Because I'm sure it was that one from Donald Trump that asked you to send him $1 million. But those are the 3 questions. Where are you from? How did you hear about this training? And then, what is the most powerful email you've ever received? So those breakout rooms will be open in just a second. You'll get an invitation to join them. So you'll have to click that button. And then when it's time to leave, you will click the button that says leave, and it will expand and it will say, come back to the main session. So we're going to go ahead and open those rooms now, and you'll have 5 minutes. So it's 7:10. So at 7:15, we'll be coming back from that breakout room, and enjoy getting to meet the people that are here in the session with you. And Alicia and Wanda, I think y'all just joined us. And so people are over in the breakout rooms and they are sharing who they are.
Miss
How
Julie, Miss Julie, I'm
Hey,
coming in.
Alicia.
I'm coming in on a second device.
Oh,
So I'm
gotcha.
so I'm in a breakout room, but when I come back from the breakout room, I'm gonna close this device out.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. All right. And Wanda Foster, we need to get you in the right breakout room too, I think. All right.
All right.
Hang on a minute, Wanda. There you go, Wanda. All right, guys, as you're coming back into the main room, hope you had a good time in your breakout sessions. I'd love to hear, as you come back, what's the best email you've ever received? Deborah Hollingsworth. I mean, I've emailed you before, so I'm sure that was not it. But anyway.
Well, I just reflected on the fact that in getting a lot of emails, it's hard to pick one favorite. But I recall hearing, I was telling Mary Jane that I can't remember what the framework for the analysis was, but the best fundraising email responses that the Obama campaign would get was if the subject was, hey. And so you, Julia Buckner, when you got that email, you were like, Barack Obama's talking to me.
Yeah.
Hey, Barack. Hey, Barry. So.
Hey, buddy. How's it going? Meant to come up. Yeah. So we are going to be talking about sending emails tonight, but tonight's a little bit different than some of our normal training. So we're actually going to be opening up, after a quick overview, Ali will be opening up MailChimp and actually showing you how to use it. So it's going to be a little bit different. It is being recorded. We will send it to you afterward. And we're going to stay on at the very end to answer any questions you might have. But I want to introduce Ali. She's been working at NCDP for almost a year now. And the cool thing about Ali is that she loves me and she makes me feel like that I still have brain cells. Even when I do crazy graphic things, she fixes them for me. And she just moved, and I wish I could tell you she decided to pack up her life and move across the country or move across the state, but she decided for some crazy reason to move 7 doors down. So maybe we can all hold a prayer meeting for her later about why she decided to do that. But anyway, Ali's really cool. She is our content creation specialist, and we will talk to you later about how to sign up for that content creation list from the party. And she has a cool cat named Flo Flo. Flo Flo was supposed to make an appearance earlier today, but she did not. And then you have a dog named Adelaide. Yeah. So Ali, I will turn it over for you now so you can share your screen and get us started. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Like Julia said, my name is Ali. Hey, everyone. Hey, in the chats. Wow, you talked so much about me for a minute. You got me flustered. Cool. Well, today we are going to cover MailChimp. Obviously, let me get my screen up.
Is it coming? You want me to do it?
I got it.
There you got it.
All right. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Cool. So we're going to do a quick MailChimp overview. We're going to talk about the benefits of having the free plan and all that you can do with that, or what you cannot do with the free plan. And then we are going to look at my screen while I make a MailChimp login and upload contacts, and we send an email. And then at the end, we'll have some closing remarks, and I'll take questions. All right, what is MailChimp? They call themselves an all-in-one integrated marketing platform. Basically, it's just an extremely useful emailing platform. And if I'm not looking at the screen, it's because I have 2 monitors and I'm looking at the PowerPoint for y'all. But you should use it because it's user-friendly. When I first started using it, I didn't necessarily think it was. I thought it was a little clunky and I needed it explained to me. But then after that happened, I thought it was great. It's free. It allows you to organize your contacts, and it gives you access to some pre-made templates, which is great because you don't need to be coding an email. All right, the benefits of a free plan and the drawbacks. How many of you, raise of hands, have a MailChimp account already? All right, so a few of you.
So Deborah does. We're trying to, Ellis Hughes. All right, who else? Anybody else on this already have a MailChimp? Jean Whaley, do you have one? James does. Okay. So a couple, but not a lot. So let me ask this question. Is this a very first time most of you are seeing MailChimp? Alicia said yes. Okay. Paul says yes. Okay, so this is
Okay.
the first time for most of them. It appears to be the first time. Okay.
Yeah. Our earlier meeting today, most people already had an account and just needed a little bit of help fine tuning how to do an email template. But we got feedback from one person that it was a little bit fast. So I'm going to try to go through this a little bit slower, but still make it beneficial for the people who have a MailChimp account. So if we go 10 or 15 minutes over, feel free to stay on. If you have to hop off, that's totally fine. But basically the free plan, you get up to 2,000 contacts. With the people that already have MailChimp accounts, do you have more than 2,000? Okay, no, looks like that's great. And they define a contact as just an individual member that you have uploaded that you're going to send emails to, basically. And then all of your contacts together make up an audience. One of the benefits that we have at the NCDP with a paid account is you can have multiple audiences. So that different users can just target different people. But we're going to talk about tags later and how you can organize your contacts within one audience to kind of get around that little caveat. You can send up to 10,000 sends or emails a month with a daily limit of 2,000. And then keep in mind that each person you email counts as a send. So if you only send one email, but it goes to 2,000 people, that's 2,000 sends that go towards your month. And your test emails that you send yourself that I'll talk about a little bit later, they count. Does this make sense for everyone so far? Even my newbies?
Yep.
Cool. All right. So the free features, you get one audience, like I talked about. You get one seat with owner permissions. So I recommend like county parties, just having one username and login and sharing it amongst your electeds to all have the same username. That's what we even do at the NCDP. I think we get more than one seat, but we don't use it. It's also good just to keep people accountable, that you know what other people are sending, kind of just for accountability. I think it's good. You do get some pre-made templates, some basic, some featured, and some themed. If you upgrade your account, you obviously have access to more, but you really shouldn't need that. You have the option to have an abandoned cart email. This is more beneficial for small businesses. I'm sure you guys have done online shopping before and you get an email, hey, you forgot something in your cart. That's what that is. We've never used it at the party. And then you can have an automated welcome email. So if someone signs up to receive your emails, you could welcome them. And one of the things that I really like is you do get a report of analytics. So you can see who opened your emails, how often are they clicking within your email. So you can see like which email is performing better and why. Was there more graphic content in it? Not like graphic bad, but graphics as in social media. Or was it all text and maybe they didn't read it, and we can reassess what happened and how many emails bounced. We'll talk about that a little bit too, of best practices for making sure all of your emails are delivered and don't go to spam. Good so far?
Deborah Hollingsworth, what's your question?
Sorry, I think I raised my email earlier.
Oh, okay. All right, good. No worries.
And if anyone has questions, I am not looking at the chat box right now, so send them to Julia and she'll holler them out at me.
Yeah, just keep putting them in the chat, and we'll continue, and then we will take another quick break right before we go into the program.
Okay. Well, now I think we're gonna go into the program.
All right. And so while she's pulling up the actual MailChimp screen, what she's going to do is like show you logging. Are you ready? Do you have it ready? I'll just shut up.
Not yet.
Oh, well, she's going to log in, show you how to log in. She's going to show you how to upload like a very small list of 3 or 4 people. She's going to intentionally make some errors, I believe, so that she could point out what might have gone wrong. And then we'll get into the actual campaign, like how you actually create the document that's going to get sent out. You interrupt me, Allie, when you're ready, because I'm going to answer a quick question. Somebody asked about the comparison between NGPVan and MailChimp. And the first thing is, this is cheap. This is free. If your list is 2,000 or less, I mean, it's 2,000 a day, 10,000. So if your list
2,000 contacts, 2,000 sends a day. Yeah.
If your list is small enough, you should be using MailChimp. instead of NGP Van, because NGP Van is more like a database to manage all of your financials, all of any sign up forms. It's much more complex, but it's more expensive. All right, Allie, take it away.
Cool. All right. So if you need to make a MailChimp account, all you need to do is Google, create a MailChimp account. You just put in an email, username, password. And then when you are done, let me move this over. This is what the dashboard looks like when you log in and get started. The first thing that we are going to talk about is your audience. So the navigation, the menu tabs are over on this left-hand side. You're going to click on audience. So this is where you will upload your contacts, because remember, your contacts make up your audience. There's several different ways to view your contacts. You could do that over here where it says view contacts. You can click on all contacts here. And you can see that I've already added some from our training earlier today. However, I'm going to pull up the Excel doc that I started. When you are going to upload contacts, there's a few different ways to do it. You can upload a CSV, which is a way to save an Excel doc, and I will show you how to do that, or you can add them manually. The benefits of using the Excel doc and the CSV is if you have a lot of contacts you're trying to do at once. I would never just do it for 3 or 4 people. I would probably just do that manually, but for the sake of today, this is what we're going to do. You can see that I have my NCDP email. I have just the digital email. Lillian, who is my boss, she is the digital director. I left hers blank intentionally to show you what would happen if you're ever downloading a bunch of contacts from somewhere and uploading, and maybe there's a field missing. And then Julia Buckner's email, I have a comma instead of a period. The benefits of saving it as a CSV comma delimited specifically is that when you upload this, it would not upload these 2 columns at all. And then if anything, Julia, tell me if I'm like rambling and not explaining this well.
No, you're doing great.
Everything after it would not be affected. So for instance, it's not going to move Julia Buckner's email up beside Lillian. It's going to keep everything in the same row and just delete that. It's also not going to upload Julia Buckner's email because there's a comma instead of a period. It's an incorrect email. So that is very beneficial. So when you are ready to upload, you'll go over to add contacts and you're going to import contacts. And I'm going to upload a CSV, or this says tab delimited. It's the same thing as comma delimited. So we're going to go to continue to upload. Before we do that, I'm going to show you. When you're ready for this Excel doc, you need to make sure that you have a header for each column. And it's going to be email address, first name, last name. You could also have home address or phone number, anything like that. And then when we save it and upload it, MailChimp will ask you to make sure that the columns are lining up with what they need. And I'll show you that now.
And while she's doing that, just you probably inherited a list that has like email addresses, first name, last name, and maybe it also has like a precinct column or some other type of information in there, and that is okay. Like you can upload like addresses or zip codes or phone numbers as well. You can upload all of that data. Thank you, Allie.
Yep.
Sorry.
No, thank you. So we're going to go to File, Save As. I'm just calling this training. You could call this whatever you wanted. And then down here, the file format. It's not going to be the Excel workbook or anything like that. It's CSV, comma, delimited. Delimited. All right. So when you do that and click Save.
Great question. While she's doing that, you know, if you when you export that and save it as a CSV, it actually saves all the columns. So if you want to hide the columns that you don't want, just copy and paste the columns you do want into a new sheet. Yeah.
Good question.
Yep. Keep them coming. Go ahead, Allie. Sorry, I'll keep answering.
Yep. All right. So when you're ready to upload, you'll click Browse. you will click on the CSV file. If I had also saved it as an Excel document, the Excel doc file would also be listed there. So choose .csv and then click open. Once it's done loading and looks like this, you can click continue to organize. I think this might be because I've already uploaded it.
You could go back in and save it as training 2 or something.
Yeah.
And while we're doing that, somebody asked about, can you use Google Sheets? Yes. So to create new people in MailChimp, you can do them one by one, which we don't recommend. You can do them as a CSV file upload, or you can actually copy and paste. So sometimes I have a Google Sheet up and I copy my 100 people and Control C, and then it actually puts you can paste them into MailChimp as well. And Juan's right. We had a blank on column A on purpose. And so we're going to show you that if you save it correctly as a CSV, we're going to show you what happens. So that's correct, Juan. We're making a mistake on purpose.
All right, we're gonna reload this because it doesn't want to work. See, guys, wouldn't be a training if something didn't happen. Hold on.
There you go.
Perfect. All right. And then you have to say that everyone is subscribed. If you wouldn't want to do unsubscribed because you want to send people these emails.
So this is you are pretending that you have permission to email them, because we know that you didn't inherit these from somewhere. Deborah Hollingsworth didn't just give you 2,000 emails.
Exactly.
So say, yeah.
All right. And then you can update any existing contacts if you want. I usually do in case someone else has tried to sign up with their precinct chair email and maybe they inherited that email from someone else. I want to have the correct name in here. So I usually do update existing contacts, but there might be one-off chances where you don't want to click that because you want other people's to stay. So now we're going to go continue to tag. This is something that you do not need to do right now. I normally would not do it right now. I would normally wait until a little bit later, but I will, for the sake of now, I will show you. We are going to call this tag training. And what this means is later on, since you only have one audience, you don't get more than one. We have to figure out a way to create, subsections within your audience so that you could search just training and only people with those tags would show up for you to email. It's like a separate list, a sub list. So we're going to go to continue to match. And this is why it was important to have columns with headers. So for email address, you can see that the email addresses are here. This is correct. The first name is here. This is correct. And last name is here. This is correct. I've never actually had it mess up, but I do always check to make sure, this doesn't say phone number and then emails are listed below. If it did, we would need to go back and edit the Excel doc. If that ever happens to you, feel free to email me. It should not. All right. Now we're going to finalize import. Complete import. Perfect. Now you can look at your contacts if you'd like. Great. And then you can see Lillian, since she did not have an email address listed beside her name, it did not upload. And I had already added Julia Buckner's name earlier manually. So that's why that one showed up. But the one with the comma did also not show up because that was not correct. And then if you scroll over here to the right, you can see these people are tagged training. So you could filter by your tags. If you wanted to only send an email to people within this audience with the tag training, you could do so that way. Everyone on board so far?
Yeah, let me, just as an example, like if, you can segment the audience any way you want. So once you get everyone in, then you could do like a search for everybody in a specific precinct and then tag those people. You could do a search for everybody who's an officer and tag those people. You could do a search for anything you wanted to search for, depending on how big your list, a different area or region. And you can just decide to send the emails to those folks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm just interested, Allie, what if you just wanted to send an email to the cool people?
You can also search cool if that was one of the tags for someone, and it would only pull up Julia Buckner. It wouldn't pull up anyone else because she's the only cool one in my audience. You can also manually add people, which I will show you. Instead of import contacts, which is what we did earlier for the CSV file, we're going to click on add a subscriber. And this is how I normally add people, because I'm only ever doing big imports if
use one of my fake ones. Use one of my fake ones. Donald Trump loves me at gmail.com.
Is that one?
Yep, that's mine.
Donald Trump
loves me at gmail.com. Yeah, Jimmy, I can talk to you later about how to download from your mail service provider so that you can get your emails into, yeah.
Okay, so this is we're just practicing here. This is where you could add an address if you wanted, even just a zip code, phone number, birthday, and you could create a tag here. So we'll do that. Perfect. And then this is where you need to say this person gave me permission to email them, or it will not upload them to the audience. So we're going to subscribe them. And then up at the top, mission accomplished. They were added to your audience. Great. So now we have an extra contact. And if we scroll down, if we go to view contacts, the email is here. And then if we scroll all the way over, you can see the tag. You can also see over here under source, it'll say admin ad if you manually do it. It'll say list import from CSV if it comes from that big Excel doc, if you ever want to know that. All right. There is also a function to make a sign up form if you ever wanted to do that on your website. That's something a little more in depth that we're not going to cover today, but it is not hard, and I'm always happy to help with that if that's something that you guys want.
And the reason you might use a sign up form in MailChimp, like you can put that form on your website or on Facebook so that when people are visiting you, it says sign up here. And then it's not like it's going somewhere else and you have to go get it. It comes automatically into this. And even for events, you can have a MailChimp app on your phone or iPad and just have people at the door signing in that way. And then you know that they've joined your mail list that way. So it's a really helpful tool to have for every event. Yeah.
I just saw someone ask, so subscriber translate to contact, Chris? Yes, it does. But someone who unsubscribes also counts towards your contact number. So that is also something to keep in mind. There's also an option. Sometimes it says cleaned. That means after several attempts, your emails could not go through to the person. Maybe there's a typo. Maybe they have blocked you, whatever it is. And that, I believe, counts towards your contact list as well, but that's listed in the PowerPoint slides that we will send. All right. So I think that's the majority of what we're going to talk about for audience.
Yeah. And so I think now if we're going to show you how you would actually create a campaign, and we'll show you some of the templates that you can use, but yeah. Cool.
So over here under audience is campaigns. Campaigns are all of the different types of emails you could send. So you might end up wanting to have, some campaigns for events specifically. So you might want to have an email template dedicated to events. You might want to have a different kind of template for a newsletter. You might not, and that is also okay. You're going to do what you are able to do and what works best for your organization. So under campaigns, all campaigns are your campaigns, and then there's email templates. We're going to go to create template. Here you can see there's a bunch of featured ones. If you hover over them, they'll tell you, like, some of them you have to upgrade to use, but normally you have more than enough at your disposal to work with. So there's these, which are all blank, but have good layouts. There's themes. So these are all a little more designed. Let's look over at, let's pretend you're sending an email for an event. Is everyone with me so far?
Yeah, so what she's doing now, we'll come back just a little bit. We know we're speeding through this just a second, but if you wanted to make an event email, you would just choose an event template. And then she's going to show you how, like, if you click on it in the left, you actually end up editing on the right. So we're going to make a few changes and let you see all the things you can do here. So go ahead.
Yeah. And if you didn't use a template called event, that's totally fine. You can use the most basic template that gets your point across that, and you can actually just, I'll show you, you can insert an image whenever you want. But first we're going to look at this one that's a pre-made theme, and then I'll show you more of a blank template depending on your needs. So if you click over here on the left-hand side, or if you hover, these are all different blocks, which you can see on the right-hand side. They're called blocks. There's text, box text, image, image group. There's buttons that you can do. There's footers you can add, and you literally drag and drop. And now there's a button here. You then could link it to a web address if you typed in an address. And then when you send this email, if anyone clicks that button, they go to that link. And then you could do RSVP, you can change it, and you can see it in real time on the left-hand side. It updates. So we're going to click save and close. If you click up here, we could change the name on the right-hand side. Let's just get rid of the word banana, show you guys what happens. You can highlight it, and there's an A, and you can change the color if you want. You could bold it. You could underline it. Everything you could need to do, you're going to do right within here. If you were like, oh my gosh, that's terrible, clear styles, goes back to normal. If you are someone who is super tech and digital savvy, there is a coding option. Most of you do not need to do this. I don't really need to do this either, but the little caret ends, click on that, and you could do your own coding if that is something that you are talented in.
Jimmy Cochran's going to start coding his own emails. I can see it right now. Go, Jimmy, go.
Sure, I'm going to do that.
If you had a graphic, or if I at the digital team made you an event graphic, you could click on this picture of New York City, and then over here we're going to replace the image, and then this is where you would then upload an image. Well, if the screen takes you there. So this is where you would upload the file, and then when you went back, it would be right here. They have a calendar for you that you can do a million things. After an event, if you did a follow-up email and instead of a photo up here, you wanted a video, you could delete this. You could then drop the video of the recording of the Zoom if you wanted to. What I would recommend for that is either putting it on YouTube and dropping in the URL, or if you have it saved on your computer, you can upload it directly here. But that's getting more into the nitty gritty, but wanted to show you guys those options. Okay. So now I'm going to click save and exit. I'm not going to do that. So this is to save. So you can save a template. We're going to call this test. And now I have saved it.
All right. Yeah. And if you'll stay on that, just all campaigns just for a second. So notice here that everything that she has sent out, like there's something called Allie she sent, there's another Allie, there's a training email. There is no limit to the number of campaigns. And by campaign, we mean like that version of the email. So there's no limit to how many different versions you can create.
Mm-hmm. Madeline Henley, once you've uploaded a photo, where is it located to find it for the next campaign? When you click on upload photo, all of the options that you've ever uploaded there will all still be there. So you could always, it'll be like in your MailChimp library forever for you to use, which is very helpful as well. All right, let's go to create over here on the left-hand side. And I'm just going to show you guys, this is just another way. What we did earlier was a way to save your template here. Let's go to, we're going to call this email training email. No worry, Madeline. All right. This is what you're going to do to send the email. So you can see here, you have all 5 recipients. Who is this campaign coming from? If you wanted to send this email for your county chair, you could do that. You could type in
Coming
Julia,
from Maryland. Oh, okay. Okay. Julie's good.
Julia Buckner, and then
Barack Obama.
exactly.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Make sure you have permission for whoever you're sending this email from. Jay Buckner. Oh, did this earlier. What's your Gmail?
Buckner.julia@gmail.com or Donald Trump loves me @gmail.com.
Cool. So then this email, even though I'm sending it, and even though my email is associated with this MailChimp account, this email is going to come from buckner.julia@gmail.com to all of the people receiving it. You would choose a subject line. We're going to do just test. And this is one good spot to help make sure that your email is not going to people's spam or junk folder, is having a subject. Sometimes even having preview text can help reduce that. Kind of like the more info that you can give this email, the better chance it has of making it through to someone's inbox. I normally do not do a preview text though. That's just something that you can do if you're ever having that issue. All right, is everyone with me so far?
All good so far. Just a few quick questions about like when you copy and paste from other programs into MailChimp, you may pick up, there may be coding behind something that you see on a website or in somebody else's email. So if you're copying from somewhere to put into MailChimp, you want to paste it first into like a word processor, Microsoft Word or Google Sheets, and then make sure everything is plain text before you copy and paste into MailChimp, because sometimes there are scripting things that are happening behind the scene. And then Eileen, I'm actually going to save that question for the last. So go ahead and continue there, Allie.
Okay. So then here we're at content. So we're going to click design email. And this is just another way to start making a template. So now we're back at the same spot earlier. We could click on save template. And this is the template that I made earlier that's saved here that you could always use. Or you could, go back to themes and decide, oh, I need something else. I need to do a postcard that I'm sending out to people. I need to choose a layout. Let's see. This one would probably be a really good one. Just one column for a newsletter. So then you can see this one is more blank. Yeah. More blank if you didn't want to look like a magazine ad or anything like that. And you can always add box text. You could add, the limit doesn't exist. You can do so much. So I'm going to pretend this email is totally done. And in a minute, we're going to log into my NCDP email so that you can see kind of what a finalized email looks like. But if you pretend this is done and you are ready to send, we're going to click continue up here on the top. There's placeholder text. So it's warning you that, hey, you didn't finish editing this. Some of the original text is still there. And before you actually send, you should always send a test email to yourself. And you should check the button. Make sure if you have a button on there, when you click it, it goes to the correct link. Check for spelling errors. Just double check everything, especially if it's coming from someone else. Then you would click send a test email and it would go to yourself. It might take like 30 seconds to deliver. Once you're done with that, if there was not placeholder text, this send button on the top right-hand side would be dark and you could actually send it to yourself. Should I delete the placeholder text to do that, Julia?
No, it's okay.
Okay. All right. So we are going to log in to my NCDP email.
All right, well, she's logging into hers just so you can actually see what a pretty one looks like. You know, Allie, how many contacts do you have? Just 100 zillion, I think, in this one. And she sends out the content package. You have different groups of people in different segments that you send out, right?
Yeah, so you can see all of my, like, these are all of my audiences. So I can have more than one audience. For you guys, you're only one audience is ever going to show up here. And that's why tags are crucial for people with one audience. That way you could filter it down more. But like specifically for my content package list, I have 116 contacts. 601 of them are subscribers. That just means a couple people have unsubscribed or been cleaned, and I need to go through it and get rid of a couple. So I sent my content package today. I usually send it on Wednesdays. Let's pretend it's next Wednesday, and I'm going to do this again. I'm going to replicate this campaign because the content package I send is the same template every single week. So I'm going to click this drop down arrow, replicate. And now I don't have to do all of the formatting once again that I did last week. So you can see I'm going to click on edit design. It's going to the same email list. It has even the same subject line. So you'd want to update that, coming from the same person. And then you're going to click edit design here. And then everything is going to pop up the same as last week, which I like because I want my branding to look the same for this specific kind of email. So this is why it would be really good if you're sending a monthly newsletter, replicate your monthly newsletter from last month so you don't have to do all of the formatting in the template. You just have to update the text. Everyone kind of on board so far?
I'm muted there just for a second. Yeah, I think so. Can you send that email to yourself just real quick so we can see what happens when you send it? Oh, actually, you're just sending it to the whole group. Can you open it up? How many of you get the content package from Allie? Let's do it that way. Anybody on here? In a minute, we'll tell you how to sign up for it. But this is what it looks like. So it came from MailChimp. There you go. It came from MailChimp, and it looks, she designed it in MailChimp, and then here it is.
Mm-hmm. When I click view content package on the button, it takes you to the content package to then, this is actually a good time for me to talk about the content package for you guys. A little segue. The content package is something I send every Wednesday. I send this email with a little bit of information of what's relevant that week, why it's important to post about it. This week, we're talking about how Madam Vice President visited North Carolina and talked about the American Job Plan. And we're specifically talking about how it's going to benefit North Carolina. Everything that I talk about in the content package tries to tie back to North Carolina and not just at the federal level. So if you scroll down, even if you don't read anything in my email, I get it. It's okay. You get one from me every week. Click on the view content package button. Then when you're here, you have a PDF that has a bunch of information, good social posts for you to share. And if you click on it, it takes you to the Facebook page directly so that you could share this for your audience. It has all of these graphics that I have in the folder with captions so that you do not even have to think about what's appropriate to post, or what if I'm not really good at writing copy? What if that's not my thing? I've written a caption for you, and it will fit on Twitter with the character limits. So you can see with this one, we have 7 different kinds of graphics, 2 for each, because you should always post a square image on Facebook or Instagram, and the rectangular size on Twitter. If you don't, the world will not end, but my heart will cry a tiny bit. And then this is where you will download the photo when you don't need to screenshot them in here. If you even know how to do that, don't screenshot them. It'll look really pixelated when you post it. You can just download them directly by right clicking. Okay. Yeah, but It's very easy to make a theme, replicate the theme, and then just use that one every week. You can see this one is nothing special. It is text with a button and then our social at the bottom. And it gets the point across, and it's very effective.
And Allie, can you go back to MailChimp just a second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then show us okay, so go to the bottom just a second, because somebody had a good question about this. So Allie's already created this so that there's a social bar there with the Twitter, the Facebook, and like a web link. And so when she clicks on it, you'll see that it actually lets you say where should that Twitter link to? Where should that Facebook link to? And if there was a website link for ncdp.org or wherever, it would show up there. It looks like Allie might
actually wrong. Mine are wrong.
I'm like, oh my gosh, Allie, you need to.
My God.
Woohoo! Deborah, did you see that? All right.
That's awesome.
But someone,
mine should say, twitter.com/ncdp or whatever our link is. So way to go.
Yeah. Well, at least we helped. Ellis had a great question though. So if you the footer information down there, because you have a free account, the footer information is automatically included in the bottom of every email, and you can still edit it. So if you'll click on that one just a second.
This is with the paid account, but yes.
Okay, so this is the paid account. We don't get to change everything on a free account.
Let me, should I log back into my other one?
If you can, that'd be great. Whichever, it's okay, just leave it. But it comes up there, and you can change the 2021, you can change the copyright year, you can change that. Don't do it, Allie, but you could in real life. I don't want to mess up your template. And then sometimes I have a funny line down there that says you're receiving this email because you're the best Democrat on the face of the global planet, or you're receiving this email because Barack Obama gave me your address or something. So you can put fun stuff in the footer. But there you go. Thank you for receiving emails. But you'll notice that MailChimp always brands a footer at the bottom. With a paid account, you can remove that if you want to. And then Allie, if you'll go back to MailChimp one more time. Okay, and click somewhere else so that it just shows me all the possible blocks. Yep, save and close. So on the possible blocks on the right, you can add any of these things anywhere into your email. So even though the footer normally goes at the bottom, if you were crazy and wanted to put it at the top, you could drop it in somewhere else. So you can take all of those blocks, save and close again, just a second for me. Anything that you see on the right, an image or a social or a share or a button, you can put all of those into your email.
Yeah, if you were a new account and you were really trying to get followers or make sure people were doing that, I'd probably recommend putting it up at the top for a few weeks. And then, later on you could move it to the bottom if you wanted. But this way it's something that people are like, oh, let me check out their Facebook. But then make sure to update your Facebook URL. I'm my face is red. I'm so embarrassed, but it's great.
No, it's great.
It's great.
So if you can go ahead and put for people who want to get this is called the content package. And there are two things I would suggest that you sign up for. So the content package comes from Allie, and it's a way for you to amplify the messages that are coming from NCDP. So, so often I'm I don't know everything there is to know about Kamala Harris visiting or the American, jobs plan. And so Allie sends it out, and I just immediately forward that to my entire list, and so that's a good thing to do it. Allie, did you put how they can sign up in there?
I did not. Let me pull up the well, I'll just put in my email. You guys can just email me.
Okay, cool. So just email Allie and tell her that you want to, let's see here. All right. Allie, is it okay if I stop your share? Are you done for a second? All right. We'll highlight Allie for a second here just to help us answer some questions. Whoop, whoop. But her email is down here in the chat box. Sign up if you want the content creation package, which is what she just sent, and you send that every week. Sign up to receive it, and it's a helpful thing to send to your people. And then there's also the press list. And so, Allie, do you have Kate's email that you could put in there too? What is she, Kate at NCDP?
I don't know if it includes, I'll send that in 1 second. I don't know if it's that or if it's her last name, which is really long, but I'll let you know. I'll drop that in there.
So you can also get all of the press updates that NCDP sends, and then you can forward those to your people. We have a few people with hands raised. So Paul Dixon, you can unmute yourself if you have a question.
Sorry, that was previous hand raise.
Okay, cool. No worries. All right. Anybody else with a question? Mary Jane.
Yeah, so I have a sign up Chimp account.
Mhm.
Is that going to be the same or do I have to get a separate one for MailChimp?
Yours is called what?
Sign up Chimps, like it's a thing where you can do sign up forms, which you mentioned with the MailChimp.
Yeah,
It's like a whole nother Chimp thing that's just for sign up forms.
if you can stay later, just for a few minutes after question and answer, I will see what we can figure out about that. I don't actually know.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
All right. Any other quick questions here? Eileen, you are muted if you are asking me a question.
I just wanted, you'll get back to my question about the best practices for precinct chairs maybe at some point.
Yeah. I'll take that one in just a second. All right. Anybody else have any other questions real quick? What is the content email about? Yeah, great question. So Allie is actually the content creation specialist. So that means if there's something happening in the whole Democratic universe, she creates a beautiful email for us and she sends it out to anybody that wants it. So if you email her right now, that means every week you will get a content package that you can then use to help inform other people in your community about what's going on. So like, I have like 7,000 people on a Democratic Women email list. And as soon as I get it from Allie, I just forward it to my people. And they are all like, oh my God, Julia, this is so great. And I mean, they know Allie does it, but yeah. So that's sort of what that is. That's a great question though. Yeah, and then Deborah said, like, here's an example of the message that came from Kate. So Kate also sends, she's our press person, a communications person, and so she sends out emails that you should also sign up for, which is the kate@ncdp.org. So I do want to answer the question about best practices for precincts. So and Allie, jump in here a little bit, but Eileen, I think that was your question, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So if you are just getting started, and I think this is the nature of your question, if you are just getting started and your precinct does not have an email list, then you know I'm going to start singing the Mr. Rogers theme song and say, you got to go meet people and you got to ask them for their emails. And then once you get them, you need to start importing them into MailChimp. So your first thing is to try to get that list. You can ask your county chair if they will give you any emails from your precinct. If your county chair has already been a good guy like Jimmy Cochran, and you've already got 200 million emails in there, then you can use those and upload those as well. But if you're starting from scratch, you need to have a system so that you're collecting emails. So every event you do, you need to put out sign-up sheets and make people sign up. And then, you know, you have volunteers. The beautiful thing about all the work we do is everybody's a volunteer. And if they say yes too soon, you haven't asked them for enough. So you keep asking and asking and asking. So you'll have somebody who like doesn't like to go places, but they are willing to be your like intern or tech person to type everything into the system. When you go to a Zoom meeting, you can ask the person running the Zoom meeting to export the emails from the people who are at the Zoom. So if you have a big virtual function, a lot of times you can get a bunch of emails from there that you can use. And you can also just like text your neighbors and say, hey, I'm working on a newsletter for the Democrats in the precinct. Would you mind to give me your email? And as long as there's 5 or 6 of you collecting emails and sending out meaningful content, which Allie's already creating for us, then the list will continue to grow. And then some of this goes to that sign up form button. Like if you go ahead and create a sign up form, then you can post that. You can post that on social. You can post it on your website for your party or for forever and say, please sign up here. And so people will automatically come in and then nobody has to like handwrite it out. Oh.
Also,
Sounds good.
I saw one of your questions was about, Democrats leaning one way or the other. Julia, do they have do precinct chairs have access to Vote Builder also?
They do if their county chair allows it. So it is managed through the county chairs. And the interesting thing is, as a precinct, sorry, I just speaking over you, but yeah, you do have access to Vote Builder. And so if anybody has shared their email with us in a publicly shareable way, then your county chair can get it from there.
So I would recommend people that, are trying to build their email list to also reach out to their county chair and ask them if they will give you the Vote Builder info, because that is shareable. That is not like a breach of confidentiality or security or anything. So you would not have to worry about that aspect. So I would recommend reaching out to him or her. And we do have a Vote Builder training coming up later, which we'll talk about later on, but that would be helpful for everyone as well. Yeah, and if your precincts, if you don't have a Facebook page yet, getting a Facebook page set up, even if you don't have a Twitter or an Instagram, I think is very important. And I'm giving you content to have several graphics a week. So you really, as long as you have someone that will post it, you shouldn't have to do too much. Also, you can amplify other people's voices. You can share the NCDP posts. You can share President Biden or other precincts, team up with other precincts to try to get followers. And then you will organically get emails this way. If that makes sense, which we're also going to have a social media training that I recommend everyone comes to, because that is a really good way to get people's emails. I know it probably seems very overwhelming at first, but we are here to explain it all.
Yes, and James just put a good note in. Particularly a lot of our larger counties, the coordinated campaign, if they were doing a good job of gathering the emails, and if they put them into the county party email system, there's some ifs there about who owns some of the coordinated data. But if they did get put into your Vote Builder, and you can export them and then you can use them. So that's a great idea, James. And thanks, Deborah. I'm glad that this has worked out well. And we are doing some other trainings. I do want to mention real quick, MailChimp has just some great resources. If you need help with anything in MailChimp, I just put a link in the chat box, mailchimp.com/resources, and it has all sorts of training tips and anything that you need.
If you search the word audience, because Julia, if you forget what an audience is, search that and there will be several different articles on it. I used a lot of their resources today when I was figuring out, how did I want to talk about this with you guys? Because this could be a 5-hour training if I wanted it to be, and how to make it concise. So really utilize your resources. Also, this probably sounds crazy, YouTube videos give you, step-by-step tutorials on how to do things. So it's really know your resources, use your resources. At first, it might be frustrating, but it is a great tool that you will figure out. Everyone can figure it out.
Yeah. And then I want to actually go somewhere. I'm trying to go somewhere that is not my email. Here it is. I wanted to mention that we do have some upcoming trainings that are on the deck. And so my precinct is organized now. What was so successful? We had 700 people. So we are now offering that 2 more times. My precinct is organized now. What, on April the 27th and May the 4th. And then Allie is also doing the social media and digital tools training on the 29th. And Allie, do you want to say a few words about that?
Yeah, basically that is not, I said this in the last session and people were happy I did. It's not really social media 101. Maybe it's 201 or 102, whichever one you want to call it. We're not going to be going over how to make a Facebook page. I will talk about the differences between a Facebook page and a Facebook group and why one might be better than the other, or like I was discussing earlier with the content package that, on Facebook and Instagram, it needs to be a square. How to write meaningful copy, how to have a call to action, these sorts of things, slightly higher level. It's basically everything I would want the people who receive my content package to know so that they can share it with other people effectively. Yeah.
And then there's a Vote Builder training on May the 13th, and you hear
Emily doing that?
Emily is doing that one. And then we've just now started talking about this one, but on June the 12th, I'll have a lot of gray hair by then, and maybe I still have the hair. But on June the 12th, we are doing a statewide, like multi-day training event for every single county chair, every single county officer, all of your precinct chairs and precinct officers. And it's going to be, wow, it's a good word. I was looking at it right before this training for 2 hours. And so I'm a little bit like, oh my God, what did I agree to do this for? We're expecting, well over 2,000 people to come, and there'll be like a track for chairs, a track for first vice, for second vice. We're going to reach out to everybody and ask them to send us some fun pictures of their group doing some fun things. For those of you who are Democratic women, if you came to the fall convention, it's sort of going to look and feel like that, with some content from you and some fun stuff worked in, some different breakout rooms for, parliamentary training, conflict resolution, some things like that. So anyway, that's coming up on June the 12th, and that will be, Lord have mercy. Y'all start praying for me now. That's what I'll say. And then I wanted to just answer one other, unless there's another MailChimp question. Deborah Hollingsworth said, is there a difference in the topics between the Tuesday and Thursday trainings? Do you mean specifically the training that Lillian did and the training that Allie's going to be doing?
No, just it seemed like the trainings used to be on just Tuesdays, and they were lobbying and what can I, and now it seems like the Thursday trainings are like tech, and I didn't know if they were going to be like Thursdays are tech and
you
Tuesdays.
Figured us out, Deborah. Oh my goodness. Woo! No, right now, like, we know where we're going is we will have 4 different tracks for people to training under. There will be tracks for activists who just are trying to get involved. There are tracks for party officials, such as most of you on this call. There are tracks for candidates, and there are tracks for electeds. God love them, even though some of them don't think they need it. God love them. But so there will be tracks for all 4 of those people. And eventually we'll have sort of like a curriculum, like, here are the 20 tracks, here are the 20 classes we recommend you take under this. And then we will recognize you for like having completed those things. Yeah, Juan, we haven't got that far yet. I think we've only been doing this for 3 weeks now, and it's been great, but I haven't slept much. So we are headed in that direction. We know that there will be some recognition and maybe some little pins going for people who complete the tracks. And every second vice in every county and every auxiliary is supposed to be doing training. So we're going to work into thinking about like train the trainer kind of model. And then a few other quick things as just before we go. You can join me any Friday. Most of the staff has office hours. And so my office hours are from 2 to 4 on Fridays. Now I am getting my second shot tomorrow. And I also have massive, crazy poison ivy from a crazy weed eating moment that I decided to do this weekend. So I'm on like the prednisone. So I hope that I am still alive and kicking tomorrow. But you can always reach me Fridays from, let me go get that link real quick. Fridays from 2 to 4. And sometimes we have other staff that joins us. But here is the link for that.
And if there's a day where you know that you have questions related to the content package or to MailChimp or something, I'm happy to hop on as well. I don't have office hours yet, but that's something that I can start doing now that, I'm doing more trainings and meeting you all face to face. Additionally, if any of you are extremely overwhelmed from this training and kind of freaking out, just know that we covered a lot in an hour and 14 minutes. And I'm happy to have a one-on-one training with you. Is anyone just like, what the heck just happened? Is anyone, it's okay. I had people from the last time email me like crying. So just know that if you're not crying, you're doing great. And not really crying, but very overwhelmed. And I'm happy to, help you more one-on-one or have a group of maybe 5 of you. And we kind of go through this more. So if that's something you're interested in, please send me an email. This doesn't have to be the only training on MailChimp, even if there's not a formal one on Mobilize. We are here to help.
Yeah. And all of our trainings, blah, 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 blah. Specifically, the slide decks for the trainings live on our webinar page. So I just put that in there. All of the trainings live there. You can go find the slide decks right now. For this one, we will be sending you the recording. And yes, there are some tech issues that have made sending information to people. It is being sent via Mobilize. Sometimes that ends up in spam, but everything will eventually end up on that webinar thing. And yes, thank you for the prayers for everybody. I don't know if you can see, my face is not that bad today, but it was like totally covered yesterday. So thank goodness for Benadryl every 4 hours and prednisone shots. So yay. I think a few other people had just some follow-up. Eileen and James, did you say you were going to email a PowerPoint that had the answers? There is a slide deck that goes with this training, so that will be sent to you, as well as it'll be on that webinar link that you can find on the website. And then, but mostly I think the better thing is watching this video, which we will also send you.
Pause it, try to do stuff in real time, write down your questions for me, tell me where I lost you, whatever. And then Madeline, I know that you've messaged me about reject categories. Maybe send me an email and I'll talk through that with you offline as well, just so I can get what your question is more specifically. We can talk about that.
And Eileen, the question about unaffiliated, and then somebody, James, if you're still here. So there's been a few questions. Let me see if I'm going to share my screen real quick. I think I can pull this up. Hang on. There were a few questions about this resource that's been referenced in a few of our trainings. So somebody asked me about it and I can send you the link, but like, we do have turnout data for every single precinct of the Dems who voted in 2020 or not. So if you want to just, I'm going to put my email in here. If this is jbuckner@nctp.org, if this is the chart that you were talking about, I'm happy to send that to folks. So this is the 2020 Democratic turnout by precinct. And you can, look at it by county to see what percentage. Oh, Jim said he was looking for previous years. So you would have to pull that. Actually, if you'll just email me what you want, we will get it to our data team and they can take a look at that. The interesting thing about this spreadsheet is like, this is based on data from the state board. When you go into Vote Builder and you're like pulling up Terrell County and you're like, oh, South Fork, well, they had 9 Dems registered and 9 of them voted. So woohoo, they had 100% turnout. But if somebody moved like after the election was over and you pulled it up in Vote Builder, it might be off just a few people based on people moving in and out. So that's why we actually need to get the data team to pull it from the historic data instead of Vote Builder, because when you move, we don't have your data in Vote Builder anymore. You go to
and if I'm not mistaken, it takes a month to upload. They only refresh it like once a month. So don't freak out if it's not right away. But I really encourage, I'm going to be attending the Vote Builder training. I know, a little more than the bare minimum, but it's something that I don't deal with as much because the data team does, but everyone should know it. It's just going to be really beneficial as a tool for you guys.
Yeah. Jean, thanks. I love you. Have a good night. Thank you. And then there was one other last question I'm going to answer here, which was, Eileen, does anyone tag unaffiliated voters in their precincts for emails? Eileen, what county are you in?
Mecklenburg.
Yeah.
I mean, so we've got our precinct really did go blue, but we have probably a third Republicans, a third Democrat, and a third unaffiliated. And one of our someone on our precinct team really wants to reach out to the unaffiliated voters who Vote Builder identifies as lean Democratic, so that maybe, and so in setting up MailChimp, since we don't have anything yet, I want to do it in the optimal way instead of going down a rabbit hole and then having to come back up. So
yeah, so you could you could, you know, have a column for partisan registration, and then you could make a segment so that you were just sending emails to the Democrats or Democrats. But I actually, you know, I think in MEC, you don't have the same problem I do here, you know, and so, and I just want to reiterate, I'm going to try to turn off some music in the background here for everybody, but, oh, Eileen, I think it's you. I'm going to mute you just a minute. There you go. Yeah, you're in a restaurant. Okay. So just as a reminder, I've muted you, but just as a reminder, everybody wants to talk about rural versus urban, and everybody wants to talk about those gosh darn unaffiliates, and everybody wants to talk about if only we had a better messaging, you know, and I agree that we do need to do that work. But Eileen, I just want to share this with you if it'll come back up. You know, if I go here to this Democratic turnout by precinct thing, and I look at, hang on a minute, and I look at MEC, okay? In Mecklenburg County alone, if you were just increasing turnout by 1% in every single precinct, that would be 3,409 votes. And that's before you deal with the unaffiliated who may or may not be on our team. So, you know, I am happy. You get emails from whomever you can get emails from, and you start sending them Allie stuff. But one of the first priorities has got to be, how do we increase Democratic turnout for our Democrats? Right now, so the other part of my job is the organizing part, and we have congressional district fellows that have been assigned to every congressional district, and they are making phone calls to people who are 65 and older, Democrats who did not vote in 2020. And they are calling them and they are saying, yo, my name's Jimmy Cochran. I'm just calling to make sure you got your vaccine. You got your shots yet? And so we call them, and, you know, that's a way for us to tell them that the Democratic Party does care, you know. And so there are other things you should do. But I think if you're just working on a list, you know, if you can get those emails, Eileen, you can unmute yourself. But if you can get those emails, go ahead. But try not to get people too focused on the unaffiliated.
Oh, I'm not focused on but we have somebody who is, but our main problem is we have so few emails, we have to get a lot to begin with. So if this guy's really interested in doing the unaffiliates, I want to eventually be able to bring those people in, although we do have to keep that 2,000 number in mind, because we have, like, you know, 4,000 people in our precinct. So maybe we have 2 MailChimp accounts, one for the Democrats and one for the unaffiliated who lean, because if they get too big, then we'll be over the number. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to do this.
And additionally, like the one tier up for a paid account, I believe is $10 a month. And then the next one's $20 a month. So, you know, it's not the most expensive platform. I understand that, you know, some precincts and some counties are not going to have extra funds, but if you do, having the paid account can be beneficial, but by no means is it an end all be all. You do not have to. And having a couple accounts, like you said, would be great. And I just wanted to add to what Julia was saying earlier about messaging. Me making this content package is great and fine, but if people aren't going to share it and get the messaging out, it does nothing. I already know what I believe. I'm making these graphics. I know how I'm going to vote. I know how you guys are going to vote, I think. But if you're not sending it out, it doesn't matter. This messaging guidance needs to get to people that need to hear it, and not just, you know, the people that listen to everything we say anyway. So that's why, you know, getting this content package for me, actually sending stuff out in MailChimp or posting it to social media, it really is a full circle thing. And we need to do all of the steps and start prepping, you know, for 2022. So I just kind of wanted to end my part with that it is a full circle thing, and try to do all the steps, because it really, like Julia said, makes a huge difference, especially just per precinct.
Yeah. All right, cool, guys. I think we've almost made it an hour and a half. So thank you so much for joining us. Does anybody have any other questions or anything?
I'm going to drop my email in the chat. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Jimmy, you had asked about how to download from your email account already. Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And so that's the sudden link you said?
Yes. Sudden link email.
Okay. Will you send me an email and then we will figure out how to do that? Like I know how to do it on my Gmail, but I've never used Suddenlink. So I imagine it would be similar.
And speaking of Gmail, you can help me clean out my storage so that I can use it. I copied and pasted everything out of it and put it on my C drive, but I still have. It's still telling me I have too much of my storage.
Julia.
Can you see this unread email? 11,507. So, but yeah, we can work on cleaning out your G drive and getting all that fixed.
Okay, great.
Woo. Yep. All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a great night.